I'm not sure how big the square is. Okay. Okay. So what should I do or not do with my hands when I speak to you?
Anything you like.
Anything I like. Okay.
Yeah, completely natural. What you would do if you're normally talking.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. First of all, just so I've got it on tape and no mistakes later on. Give me your full name and what you do for a living.
Yes, Keith. My name is Carsten. I'm the founder of Paris Sharing, a website that's offering vacation rentals, home exchange, and bed and breakfast in Paris and beyond. We've been in business now since 2010.
Okay, just tell me a little bit about the website itself and what people do and what makes it different from any others and that kind of thing.
I think the main difference actually is that we are offering these three kind of offers, the home exchange and also the vacation rentals and bed and breakfast, which is interesting for the owners because they can have these three possibilities. And at any given time, an owner could be interested in one or the other.
Tell me what appeals to people about home swaps.
I think the first thing is really the enormous financial advantage. You can travel anywhere in the world and you can save on average of $5,000 on your trip because you don't have to pay for hotels. On top of that, there's the interest that many people have, which is being able to live a real local experience how other people live in the world. That's a great advantage.
So what kind of people generally do it? What kind of backgrounds are they from?
On Paris Sharing, we find that there's actually a diversity of backgrounds. Most people, of course, are interested in travel, so open to the world, but they come from different socioeconomic levels. People can be, we have some properties on our website that are prestigious, and those owners are, of course, interested in exchanging with people in the same socioeconomic category. But we find that it's middle class and also high level.
Okay, and tell me about the genesis of that. What got you started, and what you were doing before, and about the setup.
I was inspired to get into this kind of area. I think because as an American and also a French, I have both cultures within me, and I've always been interested in finding ways to people to understand each other's cultures better. I like very much the idea of being able to experience a culture in a very intimate way, and that was kind of the beginning of the project, finding a way to make that happen. And then also the idea came from my own need. Our apartment, we wanted to rent it out when we left, or exchange it when we left on vacation, and we didn't necessarily find the services we wanted with other websites, so that was the beginning of it.
What's the French home exchange market like?
The French have been active, just like many other Western peoples, for the past 20 years. Things have accelerated, obviously, in the past 10 years because of internet and what that offers. The websites today that are mostly used are not French sites, of course. They're sites that are based either in the US or the UK, with a large base of French members. And that's because Paris remains the most visited city in the world, and so there's a big demand for people wanting to come to France and swap with French homeowners. Otherwise, there are very few, if none, specifically based in France today.
Are there any kind of parts of the world you might be able to pick out as not being kind of the easiest places to home exchange, or some parts that are really easy and very popular?
Most of the demand seems to be, of course, for the major cities in the world, places people want to go visit. So Parisians, who I know quite well, are always interested in going to visit San Francisco, New York, London. So there's a quite large demand between those cities. Otherwise, places like Australia, of course, are very interesting because already the cost to get there is so high that it's very important to find ways to make your overall travel budget a bit less.
Now, like I was saying to you earlier, we looked long and hard for horror stories and kind of scammers and things like that. Scamming seems to be something that, although it happens in the rental market, in the home exchange market so far hasn't been that much of a problem. Why is that, do you think?
Well, I think that there is a certain spirit in home exchange which makes it that people have a deal of confidence, and the fact that they have confidence also makes it such that people are trustworthy. But I think we should also imagine that as it becomes more and more of widespread phenomenon, statistically speaking, we're certain to find that there'll be a problem, eventually, but it'll be minor. So if you look at the numbers, it's a minor problem.
And if there are going to be problems, where can you see them coming from?
There are different kind of problems that can be probably just minor, but future home exchangers to be aware of. In many cases, there's no contract, and so in that case, if ever something does happen, like if your property is damaged or something is, the furniture is damaged or something is lost or stolen, there's no legal recourse unless you have a contract. There are also things that can be a nuisance. For example, if you have a party who cancels the trip at the last minute, you've already bought your tickets, what do? You have to find a place to stay. So those kind of things are a little bit risky. But once again, overall, considering what you gain, it's not such a bad deal.
In terms of potential scamming that might happen, do you think that the established websites are any safer than doing it by yourself?
The established websites, at least in the mainstream, don't necessarily today provide you any kind of extra service. So the only thing that they help with is they have a paid membership, so you can expect that people who pay to be on the website are more serious about it. But I think that otherwise, to avoid a scam, the most important thing is to never, in any case, wire funds to a foreign bank account which belongs to an individual, or use the Western Union kind of money exchange. I think if you can avoid that, you pretty much set aside all scammers.
Great. Okay. Can I? Because I'm quite interested in that answer. If I ask you in a slightly different way, just because it prompts a slightly different answer. If I were going to do a home exchange and I thought I don't need to pay any kind of fee, I'll do it by myself. I'll just put it out there on the internet, see what happens. What kind of advice would you give me?
I would advise not to go down that route, because if you just use, for example, Craigslist, what you have is you have access to a large number of people who can see the ad, and you don't actually know who the person is behind it. You don't have access right away to the profile information. You're unlikely to see a complete presentation of the home where you want to stay. So the level of information you receive is already less, and because you have no trusted third party, you are taking more risks. So I think that the small amount that you have to pay for a serious home exchange site, be it pair sharing or any other one, is probably worth the investment, because you already have access to a more serious base of potential users, members. And in the case of some websites like pair sharing, you also have extra services to make it more safe.
Yeah, tell me about the insurance.
Yeah, so the insurance issue.
Sorry, tell me about the insurance.
Yes.
And the hole that is in the gap in the market for that field.
Yeah, there's a bit of a gap in the market, in the sense that insurers have not been necessarily interested in the past, and up to now, most home exchange sites have simply let people arrange things on their own. So if anything happens, there is no recourse. Now, so what we've tried to do with pair sharing to sort of fill the gap is, first of all, to have a system where each member who swaps can give his credit card number to our company, and this can be used as a security deposit authorization. So if ever there's a problem, something damaged in the apartment, we can have recourse, and we can protect the member in that way. And then we also have some additional insurance provided by the companies, which cover serious problems that might happen while the people are staying. For example, you have a water damage or fire damage, those kind of things, or serious damage. In that case, you need to have additional insurance. So we help our members by providing them this kind of package.
Okay, and just finally, tell me about your kind of experience of home sharing. What you found when you've gone away. Mainly good, I'm presuming.
Well, yes, of course. We've never had a bad experience. Our last one was going skiing in the Alps. So we exchanged with a family who had a nice chalet in the Alps, and they came to our Paris apartment. And yes, of course, a nice experience where you have access to lots of space, and it's all free, and really no concern about what the people are going to be doing in your own apartment, because you know that you're in their home as well, and you do it with the mentality that people are trustworthy, and it ends up working just fine. So,
yeah, I do have one last question. Yeah.
Is it too noisy?
The horns going off, weren't they?
Yeah,
it's very, very friendly. You probably find the stock name. Yeah, do you think that home exchange, there's a big untapped market for home exchange kind of around the world? And,
Yeah.
Kind of looking around the world, have you seen any kind of big regions where there's not much offer of home exchange and you think it would work really well there?
It's certainly true that the home exchange as a market is growing rapidly, just as vacation rentals are. As a matter of fact, there are some numbers out there like it's a $60 billion market, and it represents vacation rentals are about a quarter of the hotel business. So if home exchange would be a segment of the peer-to-peer vacation industry. Now, the zones of the world who are not yet highly integrated, I would say, Asia, for cultural reasons. People in different countries in Asia, let's talk about China, for example, or Japan, are not quite yet on the bandwagon. And I'm not an expert on Asia, of course, but I have had some experience discussing with Asian customers, and the idea for them of opening up their home, it's not quite so easy as it would be for an American, for example. So I think we have still some time to go to find lots of homes on the market in China or Japan, but maybe we'll get there. And of course, that would be a brilliant experience for all of us, because we all need to have a better understanding between the East and the West, don't we?
Perfect ending. Perfect ending. Okay, so you're saying there are extra services with home exchange that you think there is a market for?
Yeah, I think that up until now, people doing home exchange have been mostly pioneers. They're willing to go out on their own and take lots of risks. But as it becomes more and more of a widespread phenomenon, I think that people will be looking for more services to make it more safe, also more simple. Some of these services, for example, are what can we do if we have to have someone welcome our guests when we're gone, because actually we left to go occupy another home. And so we can have welcome services to make it easier. We can have services to provide contracts, to provide security deposit, those kind of things to make it more secure. And of course the insurance as well. All these things, I think, as we go forward, will make the process much more reassuring for people. I think we'll see more and more websites like Perisharing offering those services to attract people who up until now have not been felt actually enough reassured enough by the offering.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
That was the right question, yeah.
Okay, great. So, extra services.
Yeah, I think that until now, people doing home exchange are in a pioneer mentality, and they've done it on their own, taking some risks. But as we move forward, it becomes a widespread phenomenon. People will be looking for more security and also to make the process more simple. And so we'll see websites like Perisharing who are offering these services, for example, to make it more secure, security deposit authorization on the credit cards, contracts that are proposed, standard contracts, extra insurance, and also things that just make it easier. For example, if I'm gone, how can I actually welcome people? So we can offer these services. We can have people who come to the home to welcome visitors, to do the check-in and check-out. Those kind of things make it much more easy and fluid. So as we move forward and the market opens up to more and more people who up until now have not been interested, I think we'll see these services becoming more and more prevalent. Yeah, it's an option. There was a quirk, yeah, there was a quirk. Yeah, there was a quirk. We had a problem with the toilet. And that's actually that can be a reoccurring quirk.
Really?
Because plumbing can be different, and people have plumbing problems, and sometimes you have a plumbing problem when you're there. You have to find a way to deal with it. So
Part of the adventure.
you can't call the plumber, and yeah, that's actually part of the things that you can't just, there's no hotline you can call to, So you have to be willing to deal with those kind of problems, of course.
Okay, so let's go to answer about that. So
Okay.
I suppose you've got to be prepared when you go away to meet the property with a fairly open mind and a fairly keen sense of humour.
That's for sure. In our last home exchange, when we were in the chalet in the Alps, we did come across a problem with the toilet. Got stopped up, and of course you have no one to call. You can't call a hotline. You can't call a plumber, so you have to find a way to figure it out yourself. Well, that's part of the charm of the deal, and you have to be prepared for that.